Hey guys, it's Surya and today is Monday, which means it's time for another tutorial. So today let's try and learn the Skewb Xtreme, which is a tougher version of the Skewb, which I taught last week. So I don't want to waste any time, let's get into it. So at first the Skewb Xtreme looks really complicated. I mean, if you were to count all the colors, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you've got these 7, 8 and 9. So people would be freaking out. Do I have to solve 9 different colors in this? That's more than the 3x3. It's so complicated. And by the way, this Skewb Xtreme is my Skewb Xtreme is pretty old, so it's got this paint coming out here. I just wanted to let you know. Yeah, so it looks really complicated, but don't worry. Let's just stay calm. We can solve this. First thing we need to know, these colors don't need to be solved. They're only useful in center alignment, a concept which I will explain in a minute. So when we rotate this around, we see that it behaves exactly like the Skewb, in spite of all its extra colors. So this Skewb Xtreme is just a shape mod of the Skewb itself. So if you don't know how to solve the Skewb, I really recommend you watch my videos on that first, because, well, you need a lot of fundamental concepts from the Skewb to be able to solve the Skewb Xtreme. So since I've already explained these concepts in my tutorials on the Skewb, I'll just really be going over them in brief in the Skewb Xtreme tutorial, but I'll still make sure you can understand it. So yeah, and the Skewb itself is a shape modification of the Pyraminx. You don't need to know how to solve the Pyraminx to learn this. So I mean, you can just forget about the Pyraminx altogether. Probably shouldn't have brought it up in the first place. So if you don't know how to solve the Skewb, then you should probably learn that before solving the Skewb Xtreme. And once you've got the hang of this should come pretty easily to you. So once again, I'll go over the main algorithm that we need to be able to solve this. It's the same one as in the Skewb. We just need one. We don't even need cube notations in this. I mean, if you're curious, you can try to learn advanced methods, which would require cube notations. I believe you have to hold the Skewb like this in order to use the cube notations, but I'm not really sure. I use the beginner's method as of now. So here's how it goes. It's called the sledgehammer, and I usually just bracket it with an S. So that's not the official notation, that's just what I use to make things easy in my tutorials. So here's what you do. First, you rotate this entire side around this piece anti-clockwise. So you move this down. You can do it slowly. Then you move this down, pivot around this piece. You move this up, pivoting around this piece back, and you move this up around this piece. So it's basically just down, down, up, up. That's basically it. That's all you need to know in order to be able to solve this Skewb using beginner's method. If you want to go a bit faster, you could try to hold the Skewb like this with your left hand and hold the Skewb like this with your right hand, keeping your middle finger here, your index finger here, and your thumb here. You could try to rotate it this way and then push your index finger forward, move your hand back and bring this up. But you really don't need to do it that fast. So you can just really take your time and learn it. So now that we know how to do the sledgehammer, let's get into how to solve this. So now that the Skewb Xtreme is jumbled, it looks really intimidating. I mean, even to me, I still find this intimidating because of all these colors. There's just a lot of input coming in. But don't worry, stay calm and remember you're training. So first, let's start with any one side. Now, key thing to remember, since this is so similar to the Skewb, just ignore these altogether. Just completely ignore them. Just tune them out however you can. Just focus on these colors, these centers and corners. That's it. Don't even look at these. These only become important in the end, not anytime now. Alright, so let's start. Now, usually for the first layer, we need to solve 4 corners of any color. I usually tend to pick a color which really stands out, so you can find its pieces easily when, everything's all over the place. In the Skewb Xtreme, that just leaves white and yellow. In the 3x3, we do white in the first layer, so I'm just going to standardize everything and do white as the first layer again. I don't want to confuse you guys, but you do you. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to start with white. So now the first thing we're going to do, we're going to solve any one corner. I mean, these centers tend to move around a lot. In case you remember, these centers all shift around and everything. They're not like the 3x3 where all the centers are all in the same place relative to each other. So they just tend to shift around, but still, let's just use this white center. So let's solve any one. Now, if you'll remember, if we have any center like this on the top, the piece that's over here always goes there when we rotate it this way. And the piece that goes here goes over there. It moves like this. So let's just do that. Let's solve this. And then let's get another one. We've gotten one. Now we use these two colors to determine the positions of the next corners. Now we have a corner here that needs to be white and blue. Where can we find such a piece? It's not here, not here, not here, not here, which means it's this one. So this piece needs to be over there. Now how do we get this piece here? So first thing, let's bring it out of the top layer. Let's bring it out entirely. Now that it's there, let's move it in there. But wait, in case you remember, for any piece that needs to go from here to there, the white needs to be here, not here. If it's over here and you rotate it, it doesn't get solved. Luckily, there's an easy fix around this. So whenever you get into a situation like this, all we need to do, twist this piece once, such that this piece moves away from where this needs to go. We don't want this twisting over here and this piece moving over there and twisting this, and everything just affecting each other and whatnot. It's just easier to completely move this piece out of the way so that we can bring this in without affecting that, and then we can solve it back. I'll explain what I mean. See, here's what you do. You move this away. This piece needs to go there, so we bring this piece over here. Not there, over here. So let's rotate it here. That twisted this piece by one step. Now let's bring it in, see if it matches. It does not match, but that's fine. Just bring this piece back. It's still same, in case you've noticed. And now bring this piece back to where it was. We see that the white is no longer in the bottom layer. We've twisted it one step. So you just keep doing that until you get to the right spot. Now you just twist it one more time, again, such that this piece moves away. Solve this. Now it's solved. And bring this back. Now we solved two. Let's go on to the next ones. Bring this piece out. Now this piece needs to be going there. There's nothing here, so we don't really need to worry about messing this up. So let's twist this here such that the white is over here and twist it into place. This is one left. Let's search for it. Where is it? It's over here. Same as before, we need to make sure that this white shows up here in the end. Let's just do it one by one. Move this away. Bring this in. Bring this piece back. Do it slowly. Did it work? No, it didn't. So bring it back into its place. But it's twisted one step, which means we may have to do it one more time. Twist this away. Rotating this piece. Bring this in here. And bring it back. That solves the first layer. Now you may have noticed this center doesn't really align with these. In case you notice over here, this green piece, this green color thingy here doesn't really match. It should technically be here. You see this green part matches this way. But as I said, just tune them out. Just don't focus on that right now. Just focus on the corners. We'll get into the centers in the end. So now that we've done this, let's get into solving this last layer. So when solving the last layer, we first solve these corners. And once we solve them, they'll already be in the right places. We don't really need to rearrange them. That's because of how the Skewb Xtreme works. Basically, these four corners tend to be in their own plane of existence, you could say. They always stay in the same place relative to each other. You can test that out. Now, since these two are in the right place, these two must be in the right place. And so the same applies for the other four. They also exist in their own plane. Two of them are solved, so the other two get solved. If they're unsolved, they're out of place as well. So the moment you twist them correctly, they get solved, if that makes sense. But you don't need to worry about that, just focus on solving these corners. So there are two unsolved situations that you can get. You really don't need this yellow corner to be on the top, yellow center to be on the top. It can be really anywhere because of how shifty these centers are. Don't focus on that at all. Just watch the corners and ignore these thingies as well, as always. So the first thing looks like this. It's where two opposite corners are up. And this, you need to go to a place where we have one corner on the top right and one corner on the near left. And we have a yellow here. So we can't really hold the cube like this because there's no yellow here. We need it to be here where we can see a yellow. And here's where we use the sledgehammer. Let's just do it once. That's just once, and we've gotten to the next situation. It looks like we've gone back in progress, but we have not. It looks like this. It's where we have no corners up. Now in this situation, you just go to a side where we have one yellow on the left. So this is not it. This is not it. It's on the right. Nope. It's over here. There's a left here. So you go here and you just do another sledgehammer. That solves the yellow corners. That's it. Now we just go into solving these centers and then orienting them correctly. Now when rearranging these centers, the sledgehammer becomes especially important. Now if you'll remember from the Skewb, doing the sledgehammer thrice in this orientation, say, switches these two and these two. It keeps these two intact. So we just use that process over and over and different orientations to solve any configuration of the centers. That's basically all we do. Basically, there are a lot of situations when it comes to rearranging these centers, and in the beginner's method, it's not really practical to memorize all of them. So we just learn the basics, which is doing the sledgehammer thrice, and with experience, we learn where to apply it quickly. So let's just go over all the situations. Now, the first one is where you do the sledgehammer thrice. It looks like this. It's the most basic one of all. It looks like this. As I mentioned, these two are switched, these two are switched, and these two are intact. So in this situation, you just hold the Skewb Xtreme like this, with these two needing to be switched and these two needing to be switched, and you do the sledgehammer thrice. 1, 2, 3. That's about it. Let's get into the next situation. The next situation would look like this. It's where these two have been switched and these two have been switched. Note that this is different from the situation where these two are switched and these two are switched. Both of them are quite different, so you should be careful as to which one you have. Now in this situation, we can hold the Skewb Xtreme like this, switch these two and switch these two. Now it would reach a familiar state where these two are switched and these two are switched. So we can switch these two and solve these. So let's just try that out, see how it would work. First, let's switch these two using sledgehammer thrice. That's 3. These two have been switched and these two have been messed up. Now let's go here and sledgehammer thrice. That's about it. Now there are lots of situations in the Skewb Xtreme, but as I mentioned, you just do the sledgehammer in different places to get it. So I'm just going to go over one more fundamental situation and then I think we can close it. So in this situation, we have these 3 centers intact, while these need to be moved around. This piece needs to come here, this needs to go all the way there, and this center needs to come here. So in this situation, you could go here, do the sledgehammer thrice to switch these two, and then go here and do it another 3 times to switch these. But here's the thing, this situation is a bit special. So we have a shortcut. We can just go here, do the sledgehammer once instead of thrice, turn it around, and do the sledgehammer once instead of thrice. So we save a lot of time. It's pretty easy, and it's a bit of a lucky situation. So you just go here such that this center needs to come here. Just do the sledgehammer once. And now you turn the cube this way. And you do it one more time. There you go. Now all the rest of the situations are just different ways of using this. It's just a combination of all these situations that I've explained. All you need to do is just be careful, do it slowly, and just do it step by step. Now that we're done with this, let's get into just orienting these centers correctly. Now is when you need to start paying attention to these colors. Now, in the Skewb Xtreme, reorienting these centers is probably the most tricky part of this whole thing because of how many unfamiliar situations you can get. Now, the thing is, it can be pretty hard to differentiate between light pink and dark pink. I mean, it looks pretty clear when I hold it in this angle because of the lighting. You can see that this is dark pink and this is lighter pink and this is green. But it gets a little bit difficult in other lighting situations. I mean, you can see it clearly in the camera, but I can't see it properly. It's very unclear. So what you need to do, basically each center is connected to at least one green color, one of these green colors. So you just take a look at the green colors and see if they're correctly oriented or not. So if any center is correctly oriented, such as this one, you will see that it matches up with its corners, like this. And if it's not correctly oriented, it does not match. It doesn't match here, does not match here. Doesn't match on any of these sides actually. So that's how you can tell. Now here, you just need to take your time and look at the situation closely. So let's go over the first one, which looks like this. If we just need to mentally mark all the sides. So we need to be really organized about this. If we just rotate the cube around searching for random ones, we can quickly lose track of which ones were misarranged and which ones are correct. So let's just go really slowly. Let's hold, say, I don't know, yellow side on top. You can hold whatever side you want. Just hold it like this. First, let's look at the top and then the bottom, and then let's search around like this, marking each center as we go along. So let's first look at the top one. It's matched. The bottom one, this is not matched. So let's mark white. So keep white in mind. Let's go over the next 4 ones. This one, it is matched. See this line here? It looks matched. We have green here and green here. Green here and green here. That's all we need to know to see if this is matched or not. So this one's matched. So far white is the only one. Let's take a look at this. We can see that it is unmatched. We have green here and green here, but the actual green positions are here. The corners are always correct, by the way. Listen to the corners. So this piece needs to be twisted around. So it's now white and blue. Let's go to the next one. This one also needs to be twisted around. Greens are over here and here, while they need to be here and here. So this too. Let's take a look at this. This also needs to be twisted around. So that's these 4. These 2 are the only ones that don't need to be twisted. So now let's hold these 2 like this. One untwisted, one correct piece at the bottom and one correct piece behind this. Now we see that this needs to be twisted, this one, and this one. Where have I seen this before? Where we need to change something about these 4. That's when we do the sledgehammer thrice, right? We do the sledgehammer thrice, we switch these 2 and these 2. When we do it 3 times again, we switch them back, so nothing happens. Except that's not the situation with the Skewb Xtreme. With the Skewb Xtreme, once you do it 6 times, all the centers come back to their original positions, but they all get flipped around. Except these 2, of course. These 2 are unaffected. So when you do the sledgehammer 6 times in the Skewb, nothing happens. But when you do it here, these 4 all get switched 180 degrees. So let's use that. So this is the first situation we can get. It's where these 4 need to be twisted 180 degrees. So here you just do the sledgehammer 6 times like this. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That solves it. You can always check by taking a look at the greens. If you point any corner at yourself, you can see each green face. You can see this, all 3 are matched, which means these 3 centers are good. You go to the opposite side, take a look at this green. They're also matched. So that's how you know that this is solved. Let's get into the next situation. The second situation looks like this, where we have this white and yellow solved correctly, and these four are all twisted 180 degrees. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you can't have a center twisted just 90 degrees. You can only have it 180 degrees or not at all. If it's twisted 90 degrees, that means your piece must have come out and got pushed back in the wrong way. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. So yeah, these two need to be switched and these two need to be switched. They don't need to be switched, but yeah, that's basically it. I mean, that's the situation you can have if you were to compare to the center rearranging. So you can first twist these two the right way and then twist these the wrong way, and then you twist these the right way and twist these back. So these go a full revolution, which is basically nothing at all. So let's try that. Let's first hold this cube like this and do it 6 times, the sledgehammer 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you can see, that has twisted these two the right way and it's twisted these the wrong way. So now we can just hold this Skewb Xtreme like this, where these 4 all need to be twisted 180 degrees, and let's do the sledgehammer 6 times. It's 4, 5, 6. As we can see, this is fully green and this is fully green, which means that it is solved. Let's go over one more situation. Okay, so here's a pretty confusing situation. It's where this is twisted 180 degrees and this one is twisted 180 degrees. Nothing else is twisted. This is a bit of an unfamiliar situation, because when it comes to rearranging the centers, we never get a situation where only 2 need to be switched like that. So this is pretty unfamiliar, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there is an advanced method of the Skewb Xtreme where there's an algorithm for this. But here, let's just try to use the beginner's method, where we do the sledgehammer 6 times in different directions to solve it. Let's just see what kind of a situation we have. And by the way, I don't know the algorithm for this. I'm trying to figure this out as you are. So we just use the fundamental concepts that we learned, and all we need to do is just apply them in different ways to solve it. So let's get into it. So these two need to be switched. So let's just think for a second. Okay, I just got an idea. Let's just try to use the sledgehammer 6 times over here. It'll correctly put these two and it'll switch these two the wrong way. And then, I don't know, we could tackle them one by one or something, since they're separate from each other. Over here they're together, so we can't really defeat them easily. So we could try separate them. Let's try that. Sledgehammer 6 times here. There you go. These two have been solved and these two have been mixed up. So now we could hold this center in front of us. And now I just got an idea. We could solve this and mess up all these 3. And then we'd reach a state where these 4 are messed up. So we can just do the sledgehammer 6 times here to solve that. So let's do that. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with going slow. And it's okay to just try out new things, since, nothing bad can happen. You can just mess up more and more centers, all that can happen. So it's really okay. And as you keep doing this, you start finding familiar situations and remembering what you did the previous time. So it starts getting easier over time. But yeah. So let's just keep this center in front of us and do sledgehammer 6 times. Just try it. 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that that's done, as expected, we have these 4 need to be turned around. So now let's just do the sledgehammer 6 times, holding the Skewb Xtreme like this. There you go. That solves it. there are these three are solved and these three are solved. So there are more situations, but I'm not really going to go into them. I think I'm going to leave them for you to figure out. So good luck and congratulations. You solved the Skewb Xtreme. Hope you had fun doing it.